What's up, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Eric. So, this year, my goal was really to make a lot of YouTube videos, multiple videos a week, and I'm slowly getting there. But one of my, excuses right now is I've really put a lot of effort into my freelance business. So, I shoot anything from like little concerts, weddings, real estate videos, stuff like that. And a few months ago, I shot my first wedding reception, and I wanted to make a video on that, giving my experience with the reception, how it went, what I did, what could I have done differently, etc. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. So as already mentioned, this was only a wedding reception. The couple that I got in contact with actually had their full wedding in Greece and wanted to have a reception back in the US so they could celebrate more with their friends and family that couldn't actually go to Greece. Now, with the wedding in Greece, apparently they did have a videographer there, and I wanted to try to match the style of the actual wedding to the wedding reception, and I did request for the video so I could at least see it. Unfortunately, I never actually got that video or any footage. The client just never gave it to me, but at the end of the day, it worked out alright. So I had two videographers there, myself and my second videographer, and for a reception you really don't need two videographers, but that's what I decided to do. Now we were both shooting on Canon DSLRs. I have a Canon T3i, he has a Canon T5. I've hacked my camera so I have more control over exposure, colors, and whatnot, which definitely gave me the advantage. We also brought a tripod, monopod, and Steadicam, just in case you never know what we're gonna need. And I also brought my GoPro with some random attachments. I had no idea how I was gonna actually use the GoPro, but it decided to actually be kind of useful, which again, we'll talk about later. Now, in terms of the schedule, this is kind of like a wedding without the ceremony. We had two locations. We had the first location, which was their house, the bride and groom's house, where they prepared and I recorded their preparation. I recorded the family members' preparation, like the kids, grandparents, and whatnot, just because, well, that's what the client wanted, everyone being prepared and whatnot. And once I knew I got all the shots I needed of the preparation, of the rings and whatnot, then I jumped in my car and drove to the actual reception location. I got there early, recorded B-roll, and then was recording, guests and whatnot arriving. Now, when it comes to any video shoot, you always want to have a general idea of what shots you want to get. I kind of had a general plan of all the B-roll I needed to get. I wanted to get B-roll of the entire reception empty, get some close-ups of the tables and things on the tables, and just anything that I thought could be useful. And now when it comes to a reception, you want to know the basics of how a reception's gonna go to make sure you film all the important parts. So I obviously wanted to get their entry, and I got the entry into the reception room. I did not record their entry to the entire location, which I really wish I did because it was really gorgeous outside, but that's besides the point. Regardless, I got their entry into the reception room, got their first dance. I also got the toast, the cake cutting. They went outside to take pictures for a while. When it came time for the dancing, I mentioned that I recorded the first dance, and it was nice actually to have a second videographer there so I could cut back and forth between two shots. But right this second, I do want to take a pause and I want to talk about the second videographer. Now, yes, we had two different cameras, but they are still relatively the same. There wasn't a whole lot of back and forth with him in terms of camera settings. I set up the camera briefly to what I wanted it to be in the beginning when it comes to white balance and whatnot, but white balance and exposure and whatnot changes over time, and you're constantly adjusting. And I don't know if he did adjust or didn't adjust, but at the end of the day, I had an issue that the footage that we shot was relatively very different and was kind of hard to go back and forth to, especially as the editor. I could definitely tell when I switched from his camera to my camera and vice versa. With that said, I could have communicated more with the second videographer about camera settings and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it would still be slightly different. So in the future, I'm probably just going to have all videographers shoot on like C-Log or some kind of flatter profile just so it's easier to match up the cameras. When it came to audio was a little difficult. You know, there's a lot of things happening, a lot of people talking and whatnot. But when it came time for the toasting, you know, audio wasn't ideal. People were talking into microphones, it was echoing in the room. What I should have done is connected to the DJ board and gotten the audio right from there, which I was planning to do, but I only have a Zoom H1 right now. So I plan to buy like a Zoom H4n or something like that, something that has XLRs that is more versatile so I can easily connect it to a DJ board or something like that, just so I'd be able to get more clean audio. Because when people are talking through microphones at the actual reception with their PA system, it's not going to come out very ideally for you. The audio was usable for the most part. There was like one guy that talked really quietly, or just he didn't have the microphone near him at all, he was just holding it out, and the audio was very bad there. Of course, it would be hard to hear also through the PA system and through if I was recording at the DJ board, but it still may have been more usable than what I've recorded.
Thank you for inviting me and my wife.
You know, the lighting wasn't ideal. There were times that we had to raise the gain a decent amount to actually capture what we needed, which increased the noise on the video, but sometimes you gotta suffer through that. Luckily, there was a giant window in front of the dance floor, but towards the end of the day, you know, when the sun goes down, it got darker and darker in there, and I should have brought some video lights, not to have on the camera, because I don't like the way that looks, but just to set up on like the side wall or something to shine onto the dance floor. Nothing super bright, just a little bit of light could go a long way. Towards the end of the reception, after the cake cutting and toasts and all the important events, I was just filming on my Steadicam, and I felt that I was getting the same shots over and over again, and it was kind of boring. And instead of not filming at all, I actually broke out my GoPro. Now I have a GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition, and I just put it on a simple selfie stick. I know that sounds weird, but I put it on a selfie stick and I was just walking around with it. I was facing the camera out, not at me, and I was walking in between people as they were dancing, got some interesting angles, got some bird's eye view shots. The kids loved when I had the GoPro out in front of them. They were all like laughing and waving they had like glowing noodles or something in their hands, and it was great. It was unique to use the GoPro, and I was very surprised at how usable the footage actually was. So that was the basics of the reception, and overall what went, I think, really well with the reception was, you know, all of our gear, we kept really organized all together, made sure not to make a mess or anything. Having a professional photographer at that location too was really nice, because you can kind of sometimes follow the photographer as he or she directs people, which will help you when you're filming your videos and whatnot. The reception location was pretty nice. The room itself for the reception was rather dark, but there was easy access to outside, which there was a lot of things going on outside. So shooting outside's great because there's all this natural light, which just gets great shots. And also, when you're at any location, communication is essential. Now, I kept my communication during the actual event to the clients minimal because this is their special day. You don't want to bother them too much. But if I had something urgent, you want to make sure you communicate with them, because the worst thing to do is mess up because of lack of communication. I was also talking to people, just guests and whatnot. You know, I was advertising my services there. Don't know if that's always appropriate, but also make friends with other workers. You know, I was making friends with the photographer, and he was great. He worked well with us. I got in his way a few times, but he was nice about it. Unfortunately, what didn't go so well is audio. I just had my shotgun microphone, and it got generally good results, but during the toasts and whatnot, when people were giving their speeches, that audio wasn't ideal. Also, I wish I brought some lights to the actual reception to light up the dance floor a little bit. But besides that, it was nice to have a tripod, monopod, and Steadicam. don't go handheld. It's not going to work well for you. I mean, some people it does, but handheld generally doesn't go well in videography. My second videographer was using the tripod a lot, and at a reception, you probably want to try to use the tripod the least amount because it is easy to get in people's way. So just overall, try to stay out of people's way. Stay out of the photographer's way, because if you don't, he or she might get really mad at you. But overall, yeah, the reception, it went really well. It was a great couple that hired us. And yeah, the only two things I have to say is I need to up my audio game and lighting. And lighting also for the preparation. They're preparing at the bride and groom's house, and in their bedroom, it wasn't very bright. So I wish I had some other lights there, but you make do with what you have. Don't give up just because you don't have the right gear or you don't think you have the right gear. Keep on shooting if you get the opportunity to. Every shoot is an experience, and that'll grow you that much more as a videographer. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. I'm Eric. I'll catch you in the next video.